Fill in the blank to start the show, Jay Hood. AEW Grand Slam was
Thrilling for AEW. It was thrilling because Gabe, it's a shot in the arm that AEW needed. I think that their crowds on Dynamite and Collision have been really good as of late, meaning that they're involved, invested. They know as soon as the music hits, they know exactly what wrestlers coming out. But I just think that, like anything else in wrestling, when you go overseas, it's a whole different vibe and environment. And I just thought that just being in Australia really helped in a big way, along with some really solid matches. Okay, maybe I didn't get all of the predictions right, but the point is, though, is I thought that Grand Slam coming off of the All Star game actually kept me awake until midnight. So it was interesting. It could have been a slog, but you know what? They entertained me.
No, they did. I mean, they jammed a lot, I think, into that show and a lot of really good action in that show. Even though, again, there was confusion when it was announced. Okay, is it a pay per view? Is it not? They had a bigger venue booked, and they end up in the smaller venue. I mean, I think it all worked out in the end for AEW. It ends up doing good number rating wise, which is something they care about. I don't necessarily care about it, but they end up doing that, so their partners are happy, they're happy, and the action was good. Like there wasn't, I mean, a ton of downtime. There was some, for promos and whatnot, but they almost treated it kind of like a pay per view. Where it's okay, we're trying to wrap up some storylines, continue others, but we're telling a lot of that with the action that's happening in the ring. And they were able to get a lot of the Australian wrestlers they have on the roster on the card. And while it wasn't, until the end that one of them actually went over when, Timeless Tony Storm with her small package was able to pin Mariah May, was it a great night for Buddy? Was it a great night for Kyle Fletcher? But I think it was a great night overall. The crowd, like you said, was super into it. And, the crowd also booing Kyle Fletcher, I thought was awesome. Like recognizing, hey, even though he's one of us, he's a heel. He's acting like a heel. We're rooting for Kenny. We're rooting for Will Ospreay. And I mean, the moment of the night probably came for Cope when the entire arena is just singing his song to him. Like it's amazing how much the crowds can make or break these events, right? Like, even though you have this great action going on, or maybe if you tell a great story, if the crowd doesn't buy into it and you don't get those reactions from the crowd, like that's what made it. Because I thought it was great action. I thought it was a great 2 hours for a wrestling TV show, but the crowd just took it over the top to that next level.
It also gets away from the negativity just for a trip. For as long as it took for them to get to Australia,
so some people tried to still bring negativity into it
sure.
online, but
Sure. But but at least from a crowd standpoint, Gabe, you got a lot of people that were appreciating exactly what AEW brought to the table. If nothing else. So I think that's the positive. I think, even for someone like Harley Cameron, who was like, boy, you go with the hot hand in that spot, like. Take a look at some of these other Japanese women or some of the other wrestlers there in that company. Harley Cameron versus those. I think Harley Cameron deserved to, at least for a night, be champion in front of that crowd. It did not happen. But just the idea that the crowd was behind Harley Cameron is the best match we've ever seen her in. And so I just, I think for AEW, I think they're going on the upswing based on the reactions that they're getting. And I don't know if you've noticed it too, but it just seems like the Dynamites lately have a little bit more of an understanding and a path of exactly where they're going. More promos than the wrestling, the balance of wrestling and promos. And I just think it's been a good blend. I'd say over 6 to 8 weeks, maybe 6 weeks.
Yeah. Maybe not quite 2 months, right around there. I think they're off to a really good 2025.
Yeah.
Like the start of 2025, I think has been really good for them.